Guys, in this ever-changing market, we're seeing a lot of different things that are helping buyers agents and listing agents come together and get a deal done. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 of the rarest, most unique negotiation tactics I've seen that actually worked.
You better get fired up.
Guys, good morning. Happy to see you. We're here every single Monday with What's Hot at 11 o'clock, where we give you the hottest things in real estate. And today, with all the movement we're seeing in real estate and all the just different perspectives on what's going on with the market, the mortgage rates dropping, everything else, we're seeing a lot of really unique things come through on offers. And so I thought, man, it'd be kind of cool to share with people the things that I've seen in past offers that are really unique and have gotten the deals done, right? So the first one is probably one of my favorite stories ever, just because it was so, I've never seen it, so unique, so personal, and such a minor detail that got the deal done. This was probably back in 2020 or 2021. The market was hot, and I had a gal. It was a single gal. She really wanted this house. It was beautiful. It was on one of the most gorgeous parts of the canal, and just loads of windows on the canal side of the house. So it let in a lot of light, and you just had the most beautiful views. And we were in a multiple offer situation, and we were not the best offer. We were close. We were really close. There were 2 or 3 of us that were really close, but we were not the lead offer. And we kept going back and forth on, like, should we up the price, or, do we got to change the closing date, or, what do we got to do to get this thing done? And I finally said, I've got a wacky idea, but I think it could work, being a sports enthusiast. There was a back room. It was a second living room that had a pool table in it, and all of the top portion of the surrounding walls in that room, it was filled with Jets memorabilia, right? The New York Jets. And there were footballs, and there were jerseys, and there were helmets, and there were photos, and just all kinds of stuff. And so I said to her, what if I were to go online, find an affordable Jets jersey, some big name player, but something affordable, and we added that in to the offer? Would you be willing to do that? And she said, well, what does it cost? I went on to eBay, looked it up, and I said, you can get a jersey right here. It's $300, $400, whatever it was. It was a few $100. And we're talking about a property that's $500,000-$600,000. And she said, Joe, if you think that'll work, yeah, go for it. So I called that agent, and I said, this is what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to offer. I'm going to send you a photo of exactly what it is that we're going to add to it. And I wrote in, buyer will buy the seller the following autographed jersey with authentication. And it ended up getting the deal done. And at closing, the seller closed first. He actually stuck around, and he came up to both of us and he said, hey, I just want to tell you that, there were other offers that were better. And I almost went with one of the other offers just because numbers wise, it was going to be better. But seeing the effort, the thought that you would put in to adding that Jets jersey, it was so meaningful. And for the rest of my life, when I look at that Jets jersey, I'll remember what you guys did to get that house sold. And I thought that was so great. So we took your offer, and I thought, man, how cool is that? He left, and my buyer loved me. She was high-fiving me, hugging me, and she was incredibly happy. So every time I talk to her, she brings that story up, and it's kind of fun. So that's a rare thing where you're looking at the heartstrings of somebody, and you're saying, hey, maybe there's something I can fulfill here for you that would really make you feel good. And in that instance, that was perfect, right? Second idea, and this was not my idea. I was actually the listing agent. It was another phenomenal agent on the other side. If you guys know Elaine Davis, she's local here. She's a phenomenal realtor, very bright, very intelligent, thinks for herself. She's not going to do what others tell her to do. She thinks for herself. Just a sharp agent. And she had a sharp client. And they came in on one of my listings and said, okay, you're asking X. We're going to come in way low. It was way low. I want to say it was $25,000 low. But she said, we're going to pay both sides of the commission. Usually the seller is going to pay both sides of the commission. We're going to pay both sides of the commission. So a couple things here. It looks like we're coming in $25,000 low, but really we're only coming in $5,000 low, because you don't have to pay any commissions. I'm paying all the commissions. Also, because it's $25,000 less, all of the fees, the commissions, everything that's percentage based. It's not a flat fee because some things are flat fees, some things are percentage based. All of them are going to be lower because the price is lower. So it's going to save your seller in fees as well. So really, it's not $5,000 low. Maybe it's $4,500 low. And my seller ended up taking it. And I thought, what a uniquely intelligent way to get your offer taken and to save you some money. And of course, the assessed value then, when looked at by the county, came in roughly $25,000 lower. So that saves on taxes. How phenomenally intelligent was that buyer, and was Elaine Davis for getting that done? I hope she sees this, man, because that was one of the coolest things I ever saw. Third one. This was a really unique deal. This was probably 2-3 years ago. It was a higher priced home. It was like a $700 and some $1,000 home. And the buyer started out way low, like $100,000 low. And I said, listen, I'll present anything, but I just, based on our conversations, your odds are 0.1% of getting even a counter on this. And we went back and forth for a couple weeks. And finally, the winning thing was the seller was in his 80s. And he really just wanted to get rid of the house, but he didn't want to let it go, right? He thought it was worth a certain price, and he didn't want to let it go. But he had about $50,000 in high-end furniture throughout the house, and he was hoping somebody would pay for this furniture. And I said, the odds of you getting somebody to do that are pretty slim. So what we ended up doing, and I'm making up the numbers, I don't remember exactly how it worked out, but you'll get the gist of it, is I got them up to within $30,000. And the deal was that the buyer was going to take on the furniture, and they were going to go and sell it on eBay in these different auctions. They'll do all the photos, they'll ship it, they'll do everything. But the first 15,000, right? They're splitting the difference because they were 30 grand short. The first 15 grand that's made goes directly to the seller. And everything else that's made profit-wise, after they pay for the shipping and everything else, they split for rewarding the buyer for doing all the work and shipping and everything else. And my seller was so relieved that that burden of having to get all that stuff out of there, the coordination, the money, and then what are you going to do with it once you move it, right? It was just so much. He said, man, I'll tell you, it's not the number that I like, but they're getting rid of a big burden for me. Let's go ahead and do that. It was one of the most unique things I ever saw. But it really shows you that if you think outside of the box, if you look at the problems that the other side has and how you can fix those problems for them, it really gives you a way to uniquely sometimes get a good deal. Or maybe it's not a good deal, but you actually win the home. Like the first one with the Jets uniform, I don't know that it was a good deal or not. It was a hot market. You're not going to get a good deal anywhere, but you're going to get the home when you otherwise would have lost that beautiful home. And there's no way I would have found a canal home with that beautiful of a canal, with all those windows, all that natural light. It was just stunning. So she really solidified it for, a $300-400 piece of fabric. It was pretty cool. But guys, there you go. There's 3 unique negotiation tactics that I've seen actually work. And all of these, I think, were in the last 4 or 5 years. If you've got some that you've seen or you've actually been a part of, I'd love to hear your story down in the comments. Guys, thanks for joining us again. We're here every single Monday at 11 o'clock for What's Hot, where we talk about the hottest things in the local market. Guys, have a great day.